Hi everyone, I wanted to make a video for the work together problems for chapter 3. This is the work together problem for section 3-3. So if you're looking in a textbook, you should be on page 72. We might have done these in class, but I wanted to make sure that we definitely did them in a video. I'll make videos for the other sections too. Where we left off on this particular spreadsheet, you can see right here, I've color coded them just on mine. You don't have to do that. The first two transactions were for section 3-1. These transactions on the 5th, 7th, and 9th were for section 3-2. So the transaction that we should be on now, I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so that this is a tiny bit bigger. The section that we're on now is the section for 3-3, which starts on April 12th. So just quickly remembering that when we analyze transactions, we're always looking at the date, which account should be debited, which account should be credited, and we need to know the source document number. So those are the 4 steps: write the date, write the debit, write the credit, write the source document. So for the first one, it's April 12th, paid cash for rent, $1,000 with check number 4. So it's the 12th. We're using rent expense. I'm going to just say it's check number 4 because I remember that. I also know that it's $1,000, so rent expense would be my debit. And since I used a check, I'm always going to say it's a cash credit whenever I pay cash. The next transaction was April 13th, received cash from sales. This is unique because it's a transaction where both account names, cash and sales, have their own column, special column. So I don't really need anything in the account title, but I don't like to leave things blank. The book would tell you to use a check mark. We're going to use an X. It's too difficult to get a check mark as a symbol in sheets, so I'm fine if you use a check. We're working with tape number 13 because it is the 13th, and the 2 columns I should be using are a sales credit and a cash debit. Again, it's a transaction where I received cash. There's my cash debit, and whenever I sell my services, it's a sales credit. Make sure that you're using the same number. The next transaction happened on April 14th, where I sold services on account to El Rohi. Sold services should remind you that it's a sales credit. I'm going to jump over to the sales credit and put in the $510 just because I know it. In the previous transaction, I received cash. This time I didn't receive cash, but I do need to have a debit of $510. So I'm going to make the general debit to be for accounts receivable El Rohi. And I could spell that out or I could abbreviate it. I don't really mind what you do. Hopefully on the test, I will give you a drop-down menu so that everybody is consistent with the names that they use. The next transaction is the 19th, paid cash for the electric bill. Typically for the electric bill, we use utilities expense, and I'm using check number 5. Whenever I pay cash, it's going to be a cash credit. I'm going to use a general debit. It's $148 general debit and $148 general credit. Hopefully by now you realize that you can pause this video whenever you want. So if I'm going too fast. On the 20th, I received cash on account from El Rohi with receipt number 2. So as soon as I start to type accounts receivable, it should pop up. It's receipt number 2. Hopefully that's an indication that you're going to have a cash debit because when you receive cash, it's always a cash debit of $255. So halfway accounting tells me that it must be a general credit. There was no sale at that time. El Rohi's paying us for a sale that already occurred. A couple more transactions in this particular section, or one more, and it's paid cash to the owner for personal use, $1,000. So it's the 21st. The name of the owner in this problem, I gotta go look, is Norm Derner. Again, if these are done in your book, because maybe we've done them in class, just double check your work just so that you know in your spreadsheet that you're okay. This was a check. It's going to be a general debit and a cash credit of $1,000. So at this point, hopefully you have some formulas down at the bottom that are figuring out your column totals. I'm always summing up F7 to F20 because that's the rows that incorporate the general debit column. And just a reminder, you can take the bottom corner and you can drag the formula all the way across so that the totals come up. I did put a little general debit and credit, general a proof on the side. So at this point, at the end of section 3-3, you should have a proving number of 8338. Okay, so that's it. Look for the video for 3-4.